The closing wave of Chinese banks continues to spread. Recently, 5 bank branches in Xi'an, Shanxi, announced the closure of operations. Official data shows that approximately 2,681 commercial banks have closed their offline outlets this year. More than 260 small and medium-sized banks have merged and reorganized. Resigned employees revealed that banks are all struggling. Employees face significant performance pressure, and wages are low, leading many to resign. Experts analyze that China's financial tsunami has arrived. In recent years, there has been a continuous closing tide in branches of Chinese commercial banks. According to official data, 2,383, 2,756, and 2,681 branches were closed in 2022, 2023, and 2024, respectively. Resigned bank employees revealed that due to the impact of the real estate industry, all banks nationwide are struggling. Employees are under significant performance pressure, wages are low, and many have resigned. Ms. Yuan, a former employee of a bank in Guangxi, stated, "The number of outlets is gradually decreasing, and the number of counters is also shrinking. There used to be 4 or 5 counters, but now there is only 1. Many city commercial banks are facing bankruptcy. Finance and real estate are inseparable. The overall environment is not good. Real estate has collapsed, and all banks have substantial bad debts. The account manager in the county earns 2,800 yuan monthly salary." An employee of a bank in Shandong revealed that banks across the country will face mergers and reorganizations, and the bank he works for will soon merge into Shandong Bank. 5 bank branches in Xi'an have recently closed down in succession. On November 26th, the website of the Shanxi Regulatory Bureau of the State Financial Supervision and Administration of the Communist Party of China issued a reply regarding the termination of operations of 5 bank branches, including the Xi'an Aerospace 4th Institute Community Branch of Industrial Bank Xi'an. On November 18th, the Shanxi Financial Regulatory Bureau approved the termination of operations of the Xi'an Aerospace 4th Institute Community Branch of Industrial Bank Co., Ltd. The termination of operations of the Xi'an Dongmen Square Community Branch of Ping'an Bank Co., Ltd. The termination of operations of the Xi'an Shirong Jiacheng Community Branch of Bank of Beijing Co., Ltd. The termination of operations of the Xi'an Evergrande City Community Branch of Bank of Beijing Co., Ltd. These branches must immediately cease all business activities upon receiving the approval documents and return their licenses to the Shanxi Financial Regulatory Bureau within 15 working days. In September of this year, the Shanxi Financial Regulatory Bureau also issued an approval document agreeing to the termination of operations of 6 branches of Shanxi Qineng Rural Commercial Bank, Comiter, Limited, including the Huaqing Road Branch, Changlefang Branch, Siki Road Branch, Amen Road Branch, Jinya Building Branch, and Wire Street Branch. More than 2,600 bank outlets have been closed this year. A query on the financial license column of the official website of the State Financial Supervision and Administration Bureau of the Communist Party of China found that since the beginning of this year, 2,681 bank outlets have been closed, including 2,057 commercial bank outlets. Among them, 535 outlets of China's state-owned banks, 259 outlets of joint stock banks, 188 outlets of city commercial banks, and 1,030 outlets of rural commercial banks were closed. In 2023 and 2022, 2,756 and 2,383 outlets of Chinese commercial banks were closed, respectively. According to official statistics, at least 50 small and medium-sized banks were dissolved or merged between the beginning of this year and July, a number approaching the 77 recorded in 2023. In addition, many banks have been penalized for terminating their business without approval. On November 15th, the Yingkou branch of Industrial and Commercial Bank of China was fined 800,000 renminbi for failing to perform due diligence on 3 loan checks and for terminating its business without approval. In October, Zhaoyang Rural Commercial Bank Co. Ltd. in Zhaotong, Yunnan, was fined 850,000 RMB for terminating its branch without approval. In April, Ruicheng Rural Commercial Bank Co., Ltd. in Shaanxi, was fined 500,000 RMB for terminating its branch without approval, and the financial license of the North Street Savings Office of Ruicheng Rural Commercial Bank was revoked. In July of last year, Hangzhou United Bank was also fined 300,000 RMB for the voluntary closure of one of its branches without approval. Economists have pointed out that the large-scale bankruptcies of Chinese banks signal that a financial tsunami may be imminent. Huang Shikong, a Taiwanese economist, said in a recent interview with NTD, "If the banks in this country cannot operate, it means the country's economy has very big problems. In the future, more Chinese banks may go bankrupt." Xi'an, a professor at the University of South Carolina, believes that the simultaneous closure of so many banks is a serious issue. The entire Chinese economy is in a severe recession. Financing and financial activities of real enterprises are declining, leading to reduced bank profits, bad debts, abnormal capital flows, or capital shortages, resulting in significant losses. Xi'an predicts that China's economic recession will likely persist for some time, with more banks facing the risk of bankruptcy. The impact of bank failures on depositors is self-evident. In 2022, many village banks in Henan collapsed, leaving a large number of depositors unable to withdraw their money. They took to the streets to defend their rights, but were suppressed by the authorities. Many were arrested, beaten, illegally detained, and monitored. To this day, many depositors' substantial savings remain unaccounted for. As China's economy continues to decline, small and medium-sized banks are the first to struggle for survival. According to data from Enterprise Early Warning, as of late September this year, more than 260 small and medium-sized banks had been merged or reorganized. Resigned employees believe that banks have become one of the most competitive industries, requiring employees to work extra hard to achieve results even after working hours. Zhang Lin, a former employee of a bank in Shanghai, said, "In the first half of this year, the bank issued a withdrawal order, impacting small and medium-sized financial institutions. Village banks may go bankrupt. I was assigned tasks immediately after joining the company and had not yet been converted to a regular employee. Without connections or resources, I couldn't complete them. Account managers have to meet clients at night after work and often attend social occasions, leaving little time for their families." A recent college graduate named Wang Zi shared that although he was accepted by several banks, he discovered during interviews that the banks were in poor condition, with extremely low salaries and benefits. Liaoning woman withdraws 5,000 yuan. Bank asks for proof of marital relationship. A few days ago, a woman in Shenyang, Liaoning province, went to a bank to withdraw 5,000 yuan transferred by her husband. The bank required her husband to be present to verify their marital relationship. A video of the woman angrily filming the incident was exposed and attracted attention. On November 28th, a netizen in Shenyang posted a video claiming that when she tried to pay rent using an Agricultural Bank of China card, her deposit could not be transferred. When she went to an Agricultural Bank of China branch to withdraw the money, the bank staff asked her to bring her husband along and provide proof of residence and a marriage certificate. They also demanded proof of how the 5,000 yuan would be used. "You told me I couldn't use my own money and had no control over it. I didn't borrow money from your bank. I'm using my own money," the woman angrily told the bank staff in the video. The video shows that eventually, the bank staff consulted their superiors and informed the woman that she didn't need to provide any documents and could withdraw the money directly. A similar incident occurred in Xingtai, Hebei province. On November 27th, a woman withdrew 25,000 yuan from a bank branch in Xingtai to pay for her husband's hospitalization expenses. The bank card belonged to her husband, and the bank staff spent more than 20 minutes making phone calls to verify the transaction. To withdraw 25,000 yuan, I was delayed for 20 minutes and had to make countless phone calls for verification. When I try to withdraw money, I need to verify everything. I told them my spouse was hospitalized, and they asked which department he was in. Even if I'm not hospitalized, can't I use my own money? The woman said in the video. Another video circulated online shows a similar incident. On November 29th, at the Bank of China in Dongguan, Guangdong, a middle-aged man tried to transfer money but was blocked. Frustrated, he asked the bank staff, "Whose money is this? Is it mine or the president's? Why can't I transfer my money?" The bank staff responded, "We need to verify the source of the funds first." The bizarre controls imposed by major Chinese banks on depositors have sparked widespread dissatisfaction online. Some netizens commented, "My partner's card is from Changsha. His brother transferred money to him, but it was blocked." They said cards used frequently in different locations are often frozen, and you can only unblock it with a household registration book. "A customer transferred money to me, and then my card was blocked for 7 days. I could only receive money but couldn't withdraw it." This is becoming a real problem. I've experienced it several times. The transfer limits are very low, and even amounts over 5,000 are difficult to process. It's a big issue when you need money urgently. Now even mobile phone transfers are starting to have limits. Dark times ahead. Many banks in China restrict transfers. Even 1,000 yuan can't be moved. In recent years, China's economy has continued to decline. Impacted by the real estate industry, the banking sector is now in crisis. Recently, several bank branches in China have faced difficulties with cash withdrawals, leading to dissatisfaction among depositors. Regarding the reduction of bank card transfer limits, many users believe that banks are deliberately making it harder for funds to flow out by setting such limits. According to a recent report by Shell Finance of the Beijing News, many bank card users reported that their bank card limits were restricted without their knowledge. Some people visited bank branches to increase their credit limits in order to use their bank cards normally, but some cardholders ultimately gave up using them altogether. Since the second half of this year, numerous banks have issued announcements stating they will adjust the non-counter transaction limits of some personal bank settlement accounts. These announcements mentioned financial institutions such as the Bank of China, China Construction Bank, Agricultural Bank of China, and Jiangxi Bank. Regarding the reduction of bank card transfer limits, many users believe this is a deliberate move by banks to prevent funds from flowing out by setting strict limits. However, bank personnel explained that the measure primarily aims to prevent telecommunications fraud. Despite this, all affected bank card users reported that their non-counter transfer limits were lowered without notification, and the bank did not send SMS notifications became a common complaint. One affected user, Li Yun, said she did not expect her salary card to be suddenly restricted. In July this year, she originally planned to withdraw reimbursement funds from the Bank of China, tens of thousands of yuan, but both the transfer and ATM withdrawal failed because the daily transfer limit was exceeded. Unexpectedly, another Jiangxi Bank Class 1 card under her name, primarily used for mortgage payments, was also restricted in July and August. Li Yun had used these two bank cards for many years without previously encountering any transfer or ATM withdrawal limits. However, both banks had now set a daily mobile transfer limit of 2,000 yuan on her cards without notifying her. Li Yun said, "The Bank of China staff initially told me to go to the branch with my ID to handle it. But when I arrived at the branch near my home, they said I needed to visit the branch where I opened the account." She couldn't complete the process that day because the branch was closed, and it took her a month to successfully increase her credit limit. According to a report by Shanghai radio and television station Cancan News on the 14th, recently, some bank card users reported that their personal bank card transfer limits were reduced without their knowledge. Some users said they could not even transfer 1,000 yuan. These customers believe that banks are limiting non-counter transactions to prevent funds from leaving. In January this year, Zhupai News reported that a woman in Pingdingshan City, Henan Province, said her sister had transferred money to her and asked her to withdraw 5,000 yuan for a New Year's red envelope. but she encountered issues while withdrawing the money at Zhongyuan Bank. Ms. Wang, the individual involved, said that the staff initially asked her to download an anti-fraud app, and she cooperatively answered all their questions. However, they began asking more personal questions, including where her sister worked and where she had worked previously, and even asked her to prove her sister was a biological relative. After calling the police, it took nearly 2 hours to complete the withdrawal. Similarly, according to Poster News, a woman in Jiangxi posted on social media that she went to a bank with 100,000 yuan in cash for a fixed deposit, but the bank staff unexpectedly asked about the origin of the money. The woman said she thought, "Why does it matter where my money comes from? Just follow my instructions." She felt it made her look like she had stolen the money. When she asked why they questioned her, they responded that it was bank policy. In response, some netizens commented, "The banking system really needs reform. The service attitude varies greatly. When depositing money, they treat you like a VIP, but when withdrawing, it's a different story."